Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Laura and I post about books here on YouTube. And today I'm going to be talking about my February TBR. And I decided to do something a little fun this month, and I have picked my books so that I could make a little rainbow. So I'll show you here. The spines aren't perfect, but I tried to make a nice rainbow TBR. So yeah, just thought it would be fun, different way to pick out some books. As I've said, I'm trying to work through some books on my shelves that I've had for a while and haven't gotten to, just because, you know, like many people, I get excited by all the new books I get, and then I'll read a couple of those, and then some go on the shelf, and then they become books that have been on my shelf for a while. So yes, I have this collection here that I am going to really sit down and read this month. Hopefully I can get through all of them. We'll see how the month goes. But my other goals for the year are to have one piece of translated fiction a month and one nonfiction at least, so that is in here as well. And I've got a variety of genres that I'm excited to talk about. So the first book, and one that I have already started, is Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. I've had this for a very long time and I absolutely love this color. I love the red. I'm matching it today. I figured it was apt, but it is basically a book about a stay-at-home mom, and we never get her name. She's just known as the mother, and she becomes convinced that she is turning into a dog. And it's really strange. It kind of gives me Monstrilio vibes. I have it right here actually. I just read this one last year, so they're very in the same vein, I would say, but this one focuses a lot on female rage and the patriarchy, the sacrifices women have to make, whether they want to stay at home with their kid and can do that, but then they're sacrificing a career versus, you know, they have the career, but then they're sacrificing that time with their child. And she's just so enraged by all these things that are happening in her life, and that she's literally in the book not even known as more than just the mother. And the rage is so palpable that it was making me get all angry when I was reading it, so I have to read this in stages because it was getting me worked up. But so far I am enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where this goes, because basically at this point anything could happen. And then the yellow book, which, no, not yellow, orange, Got to Know My Rainbow, but the orange book I have is Circe by Madeline Miller. I am obsessed with The Song of Achilles by her, and I read it years and years ago. I've read it multiple times. It makes me cry every time, and it made me so sad that I was like, I don't think I can read a book by her where they're mentioned in it, and it was just too much for me. But I've had this on my shelf for ages, and I just really need to get to it. It's basically a retelling of the Odyssey, but it focuses on, what's her name? I think I need some, like, what's that quote from the other woman? Some, like, brain camp or something. Her name's Circe. She's on the island that he ends up on. I forget exactly what the island is called, but she, it's basically about her. I think it's sort of a feminist retelling of Greek mythology, and I just really love Madeline Miller's writing, and I'm very excited to give this one a go. And then the yellow book I have, and one that is translated fiction, is Heart of a Dog by Mikhail Bulgakov. I kind of cheated a bit. It's just kind of yellow down here, but I figure it counts. And basically this is a piece translated from the Russian. Mikhail Bulgakov is one of my favorite Russian writers. I adore The Master and Margarita. Is one of my favorite books that I've read. It's so strange, just right up my alley. And this one is about, it tells the story of a scroungy Moscow mongrel named Sherek. Thanks to the skills of a renowned Soviet scientist and the transplanted pituitary gland and testes of a petty criminal, Sherek is transformed into a lecherous, vulgar man who spouts angles and inevitably finds his niche in the bureaucracy as a government official in charge of purging the city of cats. So it sounds very strange, and I know it's probably a piece of political satire that I may not understand, so I'll definitely do some side research into this, because, you know, I don't know the whole history surrounding this period of time in Russia, but I'm very excited to read it, and it'll be a nice short little read for me this month. Then my green book and the nonfiction book of the month is A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. I just love this cover with the bear on it. It's really cute. My parents had 2 copies of it at home, and I stole this one because I think it's so cute with the bear on it. And basically this one's about Bill Bryson as he is a travel journalist, I believe, and he's written several books based on different places he's traveled to. He's got one set in Europe, I think one in the UK. I read his book The Body last year, which I really loved. This is like the journey through the human body. It was really interesting. But this one I think is him walking the Appalachian Trail. So that's all I really know about it, but I'm really excited to read it. I want to read more books by him. I think he's a really funny writer, and I've heard such great things about this, so that will be my nonfiction of the month. Then my blue book is a fantasy, and that is The Chronicles of Thomas Covenant the Unbeliever. I've talked about this one a bit. This is one I got for Christmas that I'm very excited to read. It's the start of a series called Lord Fowl's Bane, and I don't necessarily know the details of what it's about. It's kind of hard to keep in my head with the different fantasy, but I will read the blurb in case you're interested. He called himself Thomas Covenant the Unbeliever because he dared not believe in this strange alternate world in which he suddenly found himself. Yet the land tempted him. He had been sick, now he seemed better than ever before. Through no fault of his own, he had been outcast, unclean, a pariah. Now he was regarded as a reincarnation of the land's greatest hero, Beric Halfhand, armed with the mystic power of white gold. That power alone could protect the lords of the land from the ancient evil of the despiser, Lord Fowl, except that Covenant had no idea how to use that power. Thus begins one of the most remarkable epic fantasies ever written. So I'm very excited to get into this. I've been reading a lot more fantasy and different fantasy than what I've picked up before, so very excited to give this series a go this month and get started. Then for my indigo selection, which the difference between indigo and lavender to me is not like, I think indigo is just a lighter version of purple. I should know better because I do work in paint, but basically this one just has some purple in the cover, so I figured it works, and that is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Again, I've had this on my shelf for years. I think I got it in like 2020 when it like first came out, or close to, and it's obviously a book that's very well renowned. It was really well received. I still see it everywhere, and it's just been sitting on my shelf, so I'm very excited to get to it. And I believe this is about two twins, or not twins necessarily, but they're two sisters who end up moving apart from each other, and one of them is white passing and one of them is not. The Vignes sisters will always be identical, but after growing up together in a small southern black community and running away at age 16, it's not just the shape of their daily lives that is different as adults, it's everything: their families, their communities, their racial identities. Many years later, one sister lives with her black daughter in the same southern town she once tried to escape. The other secretly passes for white, and her white husband knows nothing of her past. Still, although separated by so many miles and just as many lies, the fates of the twins remain intertwined. What will happen to the next generation when their own daughter's storylines intersect? Weaving together multiple strands and generations, The Vanishing Half is at once a riveting family story and a brilliant exploration of the American history of passing. Looking well beyond issues of race, it considers the lasting influence of the past as it shapes a person's decisions, desires, and expectations. So it sounds really great. Again, another brilliant cover. I love the different colors in it, and I'm very excited to actually sit down and read this month. And then for my violet pick is a horror, and I like to always have a horror on my list for the month just because it's my favorite genre, or one of. And for this month it is American Rapture by C.J. Lead. I just love the purple cover, and I'm very excited for this. I really liked her other book, Mayfly. It's really strange and gory and weird, and I just liked it. So I have this one of hers, and I actually don't know what this one is about, although I think it has to do obviously with religion just based on the title. Never been kissed, about to get screwed. A virus is spreading across America, transforming the infected and making them feral with lust. Sophie, a good Catholic girl, must survive the hellscape of the Midwest to try to save her twin brother while the world around her burns. Along the way, she discovers there are far worse fates than dying a virgin. Neil Gaiman's American Gods meets The Last of Us in this epic and sweeping novel about the end of the world as we know it. So yeah, seems very interesting about, you know, religion, purity culture maybe, just I don't know, sounds good. Right up my alley, and I'm excited to read another one of her books because I did really like the first one. And yeah, that's it really. So those are my rainbow collection of books to read this month. I'm really intrigued to know what you guys think of any of these books. If you've read them, leave me some comments. I've got some fairly popular ones on here, and I would love to know what you guys are planning to read this month. I usually don't set myself like a strict TBR because I am very much a mood reader, but I thought it would be fun to try and do it this way this month, and so far so good. I am enjoying the first one, so I will definitely do an update on how this is going at some point, and I'm excited to talk about them. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye!